Hi, hey Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Today I want to talk about a new series I've decided to start, and I'm calling it Portable Power. And it's going to have kind of a theme to it, whereas I'm talking about being able to take something, and it's nice to be able to take some electrical power with you to go with it. Or if you run out of power in your house, you get a power outage of some kind. And what prompted me onto this was the idea that this week I had a scheduled power outage that was like a 7-hour window. And that's a long time to go without power. I mean, I've gone a whole week without power in the hottest summer of the decade before. So, having no power, I know what it's like, to tell you the truth. But anyway, the idea is that when you run out, when your power goes out, you got to have, what are you going to do? But actually, portable power has a lot of uses around the house. And we'll get into that too. That's what this Portable Power series is going to be about. I'm going to come up with some ideas. I suspect you're going to come up with some ideas. And I expect you to let me know about those, either through comments or your own video. And I guarantee you, if you come up with an idea and you do it, and you tell me about it, be ready, because I'm going to take your idea and I'm going to make it better. If I do something and I get it done in this area, and you want to copy it, I expect you to take it, make it better than mine. It's only fair. So the idea is that we're going to build on each other on this. I'm far from being a guru about this particular subject. I know somewhat about it. I understand electronics. I understand electrical power. And so I have a good working knowledge of where we're going with it. But some of the concepts, like, how many amps there are, how many do you need to run any particular piece of equipment, those things don't just jump in my mind like inches and 16ths of an inch and things like that. And so it's going to be kind of a learning curve to get back into it. But I think it's worthwhile for portable power. So hopefully you'll go along with me on this trip and help. And I think actually not only will I learn something here, maybe you will, but I suspect we'll actually have fun doing this. So what prompted this was earlier this week I had a power outage, and I scheduled one for several hours. And I thought about, what am I going to do in that time? So I threw something together, and I threw together my first portable power unit. Basically, it's based on a hand dolly, so you can lean it back and roll it on two wheels. When it's setting up on upright, it has a third little roller wheel there that allows it to kind of move around even in the upright position. It's quite heavy because I have two batteries in it. And let me show you all the components. I basically built this, and I only had to go out and buy one thing to get this. And I used it on my computer system, my laptop, and my Microsoft Surface doing things. And the thing came through with flying colors. I could probably run this thing, those two pieces only, on the system I built. I could go probably 2, 3, 4 days. I didn't really calculate out exactly, but it'd go quite a long time. So I think we're onto something here. There's other things about this portable power that we want to get into, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Let me show you what I built and what I did with it, so you get an idea of where we're starting here. But this was the first thing I built, and I just built it out of what I already had. I had these two batteries. They're Harbor Freight batteries, 35 amp hours each, and I hooked them in parallel, so I got a 12-volt system. I have my small battery charger I've already had, and I set it here so that I could easily start it up and charge it. This also has a trickle charger, so I can take and put this against the wall and plug it in, and it'll be ready to go. It'll keep that battery charged up in there, the two batteries, and it'll keep that charged up, so if the power goes out, I should be able to grab this and have instant power. So it'll be kind of handy to have for that reason. I got to go a long way with it. This thing is ugly, so don't you dare make fun of it. But you got to start somewhere, and this is more like a proof of concept that I could do this. And I can take all these components back off and put them back to doing what they were doing without them having been modified. So the only thing I did buy was I bought the inverter itself. It's a Stanley 800 watt, has two electrical outlets and one USB port. The alligators give you the 800 watts. If you plug it into a car and convert your car battery into electrical, you only get 120 watts. So it does only small things. You're not going to run your refrigerator off of this thing, but that's not what it's for. It's a great little power unit. I can actually use it and roll it back out into the backyard, take one of my power tools out there and plug it in and run it for a couple hours, I suspect, depending on how much draw is on that thing, and then roll it all back in here and plug it back in. So it'll be great for around the house away from an outlet, not having to run an extension cord. And I have some ideas about building off of that whole concept in itself. So Porta-Power is going to be a wide array of subjects. But this was my first unit. If you have any real questions about it, go ahead. But basically, like I said, there's an inverter. I put a voltmeter on it so I can monitor the battery voltage to see how charged they're going, when it goes down. This is to recharge it back up. And it's just all self-contained. And that was what I was trying to do. And like I said, I used it. I plugged right into the outlets and ran some electrical stuff while the power was off, and everything went fine. So, but the whole concept of portable power is there's lots of other things you can do with it. Like I said, now that I have this, I'm actually going to find where I can take it out and use it so I don't have to run an extension cord. This might be easier to do than running the extension cord out somewhere. If I want to go away from the house and where I'm going doesn't have electrical power, I can throw that in there and I can still run things. So it's going to be handy to have as another tool in my arsenal of tools in my workshop for lots of different things. So powering it back up, as you drain the batteries, they're only going to last so long, obviously, and then you have to recharge them. I want to put together not only the battery charger, but I also eventually want to get a solar panel set up that I can set up anywhere, open it up, and run the cord in here and plug it in so I can charge it up from solar. Also, eventually, so that way I'll have a second way of being able to charge it up. Now keep in mind that this kind of power, this portable power, is different than a generator. I have a generator on my house, so if my power goes out for a long period, I can fire that up. But actually, you don't want to run that generator. If your power is down, you don't want to run that generator and pretend like you're back to normal, because first off, you're not. And second, it's time to start managing your power while you don't have full power from the power company. You can still live everything comfortably. Everything will still work. But you just run the generator for a couple hours, 2-3 times a day, depending upon your real power usage. I have a freezer and a refrigerator. I have a well pump. I have a heater, an air conditioner, and multiple electrical items in the house that I really would like to run from time to time. But you kind of plan it, then you shut the power off, and in between, while that generator is not running, because you really don't need to run it all the time, then you can use this kind of power to run the simple things, like you run a TV and DVR, so you can sit there and entertain yourself, watch TV still. You could use it to activate, to hook up your cable internet still. Believe it or not, and I don't know if you know this or not, but just a trivial, but that if you lose your power in your home and you have regular cable TV, not direct satellite, but in the ground cable, they actually are on their own electrical power source. So when you lose power, they still have their own power to run their signal. And all you have to do is repower up the cable modem and your router in its own supply, temporary power supply, portable power, and your internet's up and running again in your house. You could even plug your TV and your cable boxes and get them to work. I don't know how much power all this stuff draws, and that would tell you how much battery you really want to have. Right now, I'm running 2 batteries. Should I run 4 batteries instead of 2? Is 1 enough? It depends on what your power is going to be, what you want to run when you're not running your generator. Keep it, the more simpler you can do things, the less power you have to have, the lighter that thing's going to be. So remember that the battery storage is what really the weight is coming from to make something like this. So I'm hoping to make this very manageable. I still want to be able to pick that thing up and put it in a vehicle or not. And I want to be able to move it around easily. But I wanted to have enough power to do the things that I think I'm going to want to do here in my at my home or for any use anywhere for me. So it's also very practical because you could keep it charged up, and if all of a sudden you wanted to go to camp out for a weekend, you could throw that in the back of your other camping equipment, and then you have some minimum amount of power for the whole weekend without any problem with this. Take the solar panels if you're going to take a longer period of time. So I think it could be a very flexible thing to have, and I think I'm going to have one of that set up. The other thing I was thinking about portable power is what would be cool is if I could take an electrical box right off the wall and walk out there to the furthest part of my property and be able to plug something in and use it. Portable power. Right now, yeah, you can do that. You can run an electrical cord all the way out there. Sometimes that can be a pain too. So what if you had a portable power that just a simple outlet, and you could take that, pick it up, and carry it out, and you can buy things like that. But most of those, you got to get over $100 to get it to run much more than your cell phone or your computer. You're going to have to spend well over $100. And I'll tell you what, I haven't seen one of those portable power units that would actually run any kind of real plug-in piece of equipment, like a power drill or something, grinder, for more than a minute or two, really. They don't have much amperage storage power, and that's the key, I think, from what I've seen here. So a nice, good, solid power supply is kind of nice, but even a small one enough to run a hand tool for a few minutes would be handy and have this nice little box, 3x4 box or something. And I think you can do that if your power source is the Ryobi battery. Each of these are 18 volts. This has 24 watt hours of power, but I understand that the bigger lithium battery ones, they actually have 4 amp hours. Now think about it, if you had 2 of those together, that'd be 8 amp hours that you could get out of 2 batteries. And if you plug that into some kind of inverter, I suspect 8 amp hours would run a hand power tool for quite a bit of time. So just think, you can get a portable power running off of 1, 2, or maybe even 3 batteries, whatever it takes. That'd be an easier power unit for you to be able to plug your one outlet in to run that tool, and it'd all be very small. So, and your recharging is done from regular Ryobi batteries. So rather than plugging into a wall. I think that has some capabilities too handy for having around the house. To be able to take my Ryobi batteries, which I always keep charged up. I have a lot of them around. I keep more than I use because they're at different stages, and if I grab a tool that doesn't have a battery in it, I grab a battery and put it in. So you have extra batteries laying around all the time. And why can't you use that and still use the Ryobi system then? It gives you another use for the Ryobi batteries. So I think a 2 power pack might be enough amperage if I go with those big 4 amp batteries. So I'm going to probably buy a couple of those. And that's going to be my next, one of the things I'm going to do here in this project is, what can I do multitask these batteries? They don't just run power tools now, or for Ryobi. I might be able to run any power tool I want. Maybe not my lathe, but most anything else. So anyway, I think this is kind of interesting. It's going to be fun. And I think portable power is going to be a great interacting thing. If you're interested in building something for yourself, we're going to share our ideas. I expect you to take some of my ideas and do something with it yourself. I think you'll find it's very useful. And I do expect to hear from a couple of you. Not that, George, I would mention any names, but I do expect you to come up with some ideas on this. So that's the whole thing. That's going to be my new series. Stay tuned. I hope you like this video, or you learned something here, or maybe you're excited to learn something new here with me. Or you may even know more than I do already, so all help is appreciated. But in any case, I'm really glad you came by. If you like this video, say so. Most importantly, come back again, because we're nowhere near done. Thanks, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.